What's going on, good people? Rich here.
It's your girl Ray P. Welcome back to another episode of We Got Y'all this week covering season 2, episode 3 of HBO's Winning Time, The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty. This
Yeah, you
episode is
got it.
titled The Second Coming. What's going on, everybody? What's going on, Rich?
Slow motion on this end. As always, looking forward to discussing today's episode with you again. For those of you out there, you can see us now. We are
Oh,
officially on
God.
YouTube against our wishes, against our natural desires.
Yeah.
We got y'all with Ray and Rich is officially on YouTube. So we'll figure out the schematics. We're actually trying to get everything, you know, on its own ground. With the Instagram page,
Mhm.
Twitter feed, or man, we still calling it Twitter.
It's still going to be the
Twitter.
Twitter. It's still going to be the
It's
Bird
still gonna
app.
be the bird, yeah. Twitter, everything combined. So just obviously, we also co-host the Culture Garden podcast. Shout out to school. So we be placing some stuff over there. As you get used to it, we'll be building another page where we got y'all. Definitely deserves its own space, and television is just the new wave. Shout out to the writers. Shout out to the actors.
Shout out to y'all.
Um,
And sorry not to cut you off.
no, you good.
Shout out to all y'all for rocking with us on the audio only for the last year.
Nah, for real. That's a great. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Glad you said that. Shout out to everybody who's been just in the office, headphones in, doing your
For
work, checking us
sure.
out. We
For
appreciate
sure.
it. Check us out on YouTube now. um, I mentioned the Culture Garden every Thursday. Check us out. There's a television, excuse me, a film feed. I'm getting my words twisted up today, but it's all good. We're gonna get right into the episode. I got some questions for you, Ray.
I'm ready.
I'm not gonna go there yet, but just know, and I think we're gonna talk about a lot this episode. We're gonna talk about Larry Legend, of course. We got to.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about this $25 million contract,
Bruh. First of its
but
kind?
absolutely, but we might have to take a little moment and give Pat Riley a little bit of an apology. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. All right, talk about it. Season 2, episode 3, titled "The Second Coming," directed by Todd Banzel. My apologies. This show was created from the book Jeff Pearlman wrote called Showtime. Rachel, this show is so good. And I want to pause real quick because Jeff Pearlman tweeted something out a couple days ago,
Hmm.
and I think it's very important to relay. Obviously, if you're listening to us right now, that means that you watched the show Winning Time. And I want to challenge, and we're not the everybody stop what you're doing and do this type of podcast, but I do want to challenge everybody listening to tell two or three friends about the show.
For sure.
Jeff Pearlman sent out some disturbing tweets, pretty much discussing how the writer's strike leading to them not being able to promote the show means it is very, very, very important that this show has eyes on it and it has
For
viewers.
sure.
He made it very clear that there is no guarantee for season 3. It makes sense because of all these stars and how great the show is, but just like anything else, it could be off the air. Everybody knows I love The Wire. It's my favorite show of all time. Every single season, it was threatened to be canceled because they didn't have enough viewers. It was not some big hit when it was actually showing. So I just want to take some time and make sure everybody really does reach out and tell people watch Winning Time. It is great television. A
For
ton of people
sure.
I've been seeing saying I don't follow sports, but this show is incredible.
Me.
And it transcends things. It transcends things, and they're doing an amazing job. We talked about that as well in previous episodes, but yeah, make sure people are watching because I would be upset if this story isn't told out to the complete end.
I'm for sure. I definitely want to see it because I mean we spoke about it if you listened last week, and the week before. I don't really know sports like that. I fake know. So all the histories, there's very for me, it's mostly surface based knowledge, not anything real in depth or detailed. So I love this shit, even though I know everything is not factual.
Hmm.
I'm just intrigued. It's great storytelling. The cinematography is everything. The way that they approach this show,
Hmm.
it's everything. I just said that, and I saw those tweets too, and I also was concerned, but it reminds me of the conversation we had, I think in episode 1, where we talked about where we were also supposed to be covering Rap Shit season 2, which they
Hmm.
decided to push back for this reason because of the strike. And um, these aren't the only shows who are being affected by the
Right.
strike. These shows this show decided to continue on with their time frame, but all these actors, I'm, I'm wondering if the social media teams are working behind the scenes or are working extra hours trying to promote quote unquote as best they can because the actors can't it ain't.
Right.
you
Exactly.
know, that's all
Yeah.
that they have to rely on or ad space. So shout out to us for
Yeah.
continuing to watch these shows and to cover them as best we can. So I hope that the rest of y'all follow suit and tune in. Catch it live on Sundays at 9 p.m. It's also live on HBO Max at 9.
Hmm.
If you don't actually have HBO, it's available right then. So you can live tweet it. I don't too much live tweet, although maybe I should just for engagement's sake, but because I be trying to save my thoughts for y'all.
Straight up. Straight up. I know the feeling.
But yeah, we gotta get this out here. We definitely need a season 3 because I don't know what the hell is gonna happen.
Season 3, 4, and 5. And that
Right.
brings up a point. Well, let me get right back to it. Let me shout out the rest of this crew.
Yeah.
This episode was written by Max Borenstein, Jeff Pearlman, and Jim Hecht. And shout out to the incredible cast as always. Quick synopsis on the episode. In the 1970s, Larry Bird rises from a small town boy to a position as a sought after player. Later, Irvin puts pressure on Bus. This show was so good that I said, let me read this Showtime book. Um, Now, when I say read, everyone, I am a physical book copy, as you can see in the background. I still like getting physical books, but
For sure.
for the purpose of us doing this podcast, I downloaded the Libby app. If everybody's here, you can get audiobooks, rent them from the library versus purchasing them. So I downloaded the Libby app and rented out Showtime. It's a 19-hour audiobook. I started it on Friday evening. It is
Mm.
Monday, and I have 6 hours left. And the only reason I have 6 hours left is because I did not listen today. I would have finished that whole thing by today.
Oh
That's how
wow.
intriguing it is. I wanted to do that to bring um, some context to some things, see what was really true, see what was true but maybe misplaced as far as timelines.
Hmm.
I don't want to interfere too much with the show,
Hmm.
I don't want to turn it into a fact versus fiction type of thing. We're still gonna have our conversations, but there are some things that I found very interesting throughout. Some things I won't say now because they still haven't happened in the show. Like they're too
Okay.
big not to have happened. But I
Uh,
do want to bring that extra context and insight as we discuss these things. Um,
okay.
but as we get started, how much did you know about Larry Bird
I
other
don't know shit
than
about
he was a
Larry
white?
Bird.
Okay, okay.
I thought
What
that
were you?
nigga was really from Indiana, but he was from Kentucky.
No, from French Lick, Indiana.
Oh,
They used to call him the Hick from French Lick.
okay. I knew they called him a hick, but so in the episode when he was in the taxi, so was his dad in Kentucky? Like, what's going on?
Mm-mm. His dad was
I
in Indiana. The
I
sign
could have
said,
sworn I saw Louisville, Kentucky on the side of the yellow cab.
I don't know, maybe the cab company was founded there. I don't know, but it was definitely they were
Maybe.
in French Lick, Indiana.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, I thought he was actually from Indiana as well as playing for
Okay.
Indiana. So go ahead. I don't know shit about that nigga.
Okay then. Yeah, I just curious. I just didn't know exactly what you knew because he's
Nothing.
obviously the subject of this, and you got to. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah,
When you that main adversary, you got to be a cold motherfucker if you always mention with the other person. Because it's
that's
the
it.
opposite with Larry too. Larry, you can't bring up Larry without bringing up Magic.
Exactly.
You can't bring up Ali without bringing up Frazier. It's just certain rivalries that you
Uh-huh.
see throughout the years that just transcend time. And um, these are people that are going to be talked about years and years and years and years
Yeah.
afterwards. It's a legacy they left. So it, Larry's a bad dude, man, and the show has done a good job. So let me ask you this: let's flash back to season one.
Okay.
All right, and we meet Larry Bird for the first time, and we kind of see a couple episodes of his demeanor.
Hmm.
What did you think about his actual character? Did you like, is that really how dude is? Like, is he just a short answer prick? Like,
Okay. I thought he was an asshole,
mm-hmm.
and I believed that to be true.
Yeah,
Um, we know or knew, essentially thinking back, that Magic was a media darling. He still is.
mm-hmm.
I just said I didn't know shit about Larry Bird, but maybe I did know that he had that reputation around the league, that he wasn't
Never
personable,
impressed. Never
never
impressed.
impressed, and I knew he was. I don't want to call him a hick. Well, that's what the name was, but I knew that he was less than sophisticated.
That's a great job. That's a great job. Hey, I like the way you put that.
Yeah, I the shout out to Wendy Williams calling people less than smart instead of stupid. So Wendy, um, blah 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 blah. So maybe I did know that. So I was not surprised, and I did catch a few tweets yesterday while the show was going on saying that the gentleman playing Larry Bird is pretty much spot on.
Nah,
Demeanor, even down to shot.
no, the jump shot, it's identical. It's
Yeah.
insane. It's insane to see because he had a very unique release.
Mhm.
I'm going to talk to you later on about some of my favorite Larry Bird moments and just give you
Okay.
some stories about who this dude is.
Yeah, because I don't
Um,
know.
oh yeah, nah, Larry's one of them ones. But where do you want to start as far as this episode? Do you want to talk about the Lakers and Magic? Do you want to talk about Norman Magic? Do you want to talk about Dr. Buss and Jeannie? Where do you want to start with Larry? We can get
Let's
into it.
start with Larry. This is Larry's episode for all
Yeah,
intents and purposes. So let's get it
yeah,
on. Let's start with
yeah,
him.
for sure, for sure. So Larry's dad was in the Korea War. He
Mhm.
fought in that war and had alcoholism or suffered from alcoholism, should I say. So that was definitely factual. But a lot of people didn't know. I knew this, but a lot of people didn't know that Larry Bird was committed to Indiana University. Um, he's just this random French lick 2000 population 2000 kind of town and just was became this basketball star. Um, we get a whole episode on him because of the impact that he has in his rivalry. It was fascinating, I think, for the historians to kind of see that him get the winning time treatment. Like we get a
Mhm.
little bit of his story, things that people probably didn't know. Um, I was just about to ask you a question, but I know you don't know about him hooping in the jeans at Indiana State.
I did not know that. That was
Yeah,
allegedly true.
no, nah, Larry Bird's a different type of dude. He's a different type of dude, but he went to Indiana and he I think 27 days, 24 days, and he
Mhm.
bounced. He just didn't like that big and it's Bloomington. So that lets you know something. He didn't like the idea of the big campus and all that people made him
Yeah.
uncomfortable. And he had no plans on playing basketball. He wanted to
Mm.
work for the city. He actually did. He was like driving a garbage truck, fixing things. He said that was some of the most like fun he had in his life. So you got
Well,
this
he
six
was
foot
with the niggas,
nine.
so I'm sure.
That's what it was. And he was just with he was kicking it, had no plans on playing basketball, and they finally was like, "Yo, man, you too nice. You too nice not to play." So he went into it. Like I say, he's very unimpressed type of dude. And we see that story kind of pan out. How did you feel about him as an adversary, or also most importantly, 1981 champion?
Yeah.
So we see right after Magic get his, Larry wins his.
I didn't realize, and I guess I watched last week's episode several times. And again, this is me not having or having very little historical knowledge. I thought that they were in game 3 when Magic missed that shot,
Oh no, that was the end of the series.
not
That's how the
game
series ended.
4 at the end of the series. So I was like, "Oh, damn, we got one more. We'll see next week what happens."
Nah, them niggas at
No.
home chilling.
No, they were home. They had gone fishing.
Or game six. That was technically game six
Or game
when
6.
that
Okay,
happened.
they was
Yeah.
in Cancun before that was the thing.
hmm At home. And just imagine Magic. You already beat him in college. You got your rivalry. You won one, so you get those bragging rights. And we flash back to episode 1 at the
Yeah,
draft when Red told him, "All right, you think shit's sweet? Winning one is cool.
do it
Go ahead and
again.
enjoy your one. I've been doing this. I'm
Yeah,
stacking
for
these up like
sure.
infinity stones."
For sure. What was the question?
No, I was
The
just
main
talking about
question?
Larry. It's just as
Oh,
an adversary. So they build. Obviously, we see him win the championship, and just
mhm.
seeing him as that kind of foe or rival towards Magic.
I didn't really think, I guess, anything of it. It just was
hmm
again complete opposites. And the little knowledge that I do have, I know that they battled throughout the 80s.
hmm
That's really it. Starting from college, Midwest kids.
Straight up.
on the big stage, and that's it. Shout out to the Midwest always.
They had most of the scenes were kind of background. They didn't really tell us anything in regards to the winning time story about Larry.
Yeah.
Just kind of gave us a little bit of character, how he became what he became. But one scene that was really important was the scene with Red Auerbach.
For
Um,
sure.
that moment had a direct impact on how NBA draft procedures went and how NBA contracts were affected. They
Mm.
have rules that are named after Larry Bird because of this. One is the Bird Collegiate Rule. So in season one, there's a moment when Dr. Bus is talking to Jeannie, and I
Mhm.
think it's episode one, it's the pilot, and he's asking her, "Who do we draft first, Magic or Bird?" And she said, "That's a trick question. Bird was drafted last year by the Celtics."
Yeah.
Back in the day, they used to have this rule. Not a lot of teams used it, but it was called the junior rule, junior eligible rule. So even if
Mhm.
a player didn't enter the draft, you can still draft them.
Okay.
And you had a whole year to negotiate a contract with them. If you couldn't, then they go in the following year draft.
Okay. That's what I was confused about in that meeting with Red. I was like, I didn't realize that Larry had committed to the draft the year before and didn't go.
Yep. Yep. So that
Got it.
the reason it's the bird it's called the bird collegiate rule is they said you cannot not force, but pretty much force somebody to join your team and negotiate with them and change their situation because
Mhm.
like I said, he's not even declaring, he's not even saying I want to come out. But
Yeah.
they have his rights and they offering him all type of monies. At first they said, they talked about the contract negotiation. He told us got to go fuck himself, and that was meant for you.
Yeah.
But they ended up signing him to the richest rookie deal in sports history, not just basketball history, sports history. So that lets you know how bad he wanted Larry Bird, and he saw him as a Celtics.
Yeah.
Red, they talk about him in the opening episode as far as being the first um, coach owner to start an All Black five lineup.
Mhm.
Or start All Black five, have an All Black starting five lineup. Excuse me.
Yeah.
It wasn't that he was just some this is wrong. Let's put he fuck what y'all think. I don't care about the public's opinion. We'll put
Mhm.
the best people on the court.
Yeah.
He knew if I bring you to Boston, it's a wrap. Not
For
only could
sure.
Larry hoop, but also the image. There's the
Mhm.
Boston. We ain't gonna get into the history of Boston and all that, but the second coming is the name of this episode. The white Jesus, all of that. That's kind of what it is. So that scene as a whole, I forgot the second rule was the Bird's rights, which he changed. Which in 1983 he was eligible to be a free agent. So anybody, the NBA didn't really have a salary cap, so you could get paid him whatever. So to control that shit, they incentivized the team that drafted you to give you a better deal, longer contract, all that stuff. So it helps
Mhm.
teams out from especially small market. But that was all Bird too. So everybody wanted him. He is a Celtic. Um, and I can't wait to actually get to knowing what I know. I can't wait to get to the last couple episodes.
Okay.
I don't know about the timeline though. Now that I'm thinking about it, because we know the season's ending in 84. We only got 4 episodes left. So we still got to
Mhm.
get through 82 and 83.
Yeah.
And given that this is built around Boston and LA, I'm sure that at least two of the last 4 episodes are going to be centered around that finals.
Mhm.
But there's a lot that happens in 82 and 83. So it's kind of upsetting me even more that we're not getting 10 full episodes.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I'm trying to think where I want to go with this. Let's talk about Dr. Bus because I do want to talk about Norm and Magic and all that here in a second.
Okay.
Monopoly Night.
It went very differently this week.
Hmm.
um, I'm glad that we didn't see. I'm not really, but I w- yeah, I wish we would have seen Jim and John reconcile essentially with Dr. Bus. I wonder if that was Honey's doing. I came in here last week and said, I don't want to see Honey long term. This is a good memory flashback, but now clearly Honey is at the table running but rubbing Bus's leg like, okay, bitch. So you're around.
Hmm.
Jeannie is only late because again, my girl is about her business. She's taking care of business while these niggas sitting around the table playing board games. Not a fan. Not
Not
a
just
fan.
not just playing board games. You're using my thimble.
You using my thimble, and y'all know it's my thimble.
Know it to the point where you pointed it out to me and let me know that she was using my thimble.
So now I feel like y'all did that on purpose. I don't remember the last time I played Monopoly, but I
Hmm.
know it's got to be more than four uh things.
Oh
Who
yeah.
who's the iron? Is it an iron or is it an anchor?
There's a few of them. I can't. You know, it's been a minute since I played Monopoly too, but they definitely got some. I know there's a dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Always a
don't
dog,
fucking
huh?
know. I should have Googled, but regardless, y'all shouldn't have gave her my thimble because now I feel like y'all was trying to play me. If I'm Jeannie, I'm taking it personal, no matter what.
Jenny Jenny got played from the time she got there. I'm rushing out of work to come here because I know Monopoly night is a big thing. I
Period.
come in, I don't even have a seat at the table right now.
Come on.
This chick talking about some, oh, you used to wear my high heels, trying to build up that old memory. Man, that was a long time ago.
Let me tell you, I would beat your ass in this house.
I
And
thought,
candidly, my parents are still married, so I don't quite know that, but
hmm
I have been side-eyed from a gentleman caller's by a gentleman caller's children. So that that I can relate to. So once Jeannie got her drink and motherfuckers was asking for a tab, no. Mm-mm. Those
hmm
subsequent looks, I felt that in my spirit. It was very reminiscent to me. And honey plays too much. You can acknowledge that I've grown up, but I also feel like you're trying to sum me a little bit. And I don't
that's.
know if that's paranoia or you playing in my face.
I'm glad that you brought that up because that's the exact same feeling that I had. So I know I'm not crazy because
Yeah.
there's something about the way she said it. You used to wear my high heels, now you got your own.
Bitch.
Like if this, it seems like this is their first time interacting since she's
She was
been
a
back in his life.
child. Yeah.
Yeah. So give me a proper hello. You know how you been?
Mhm.
Good to see you.
Mhm.
Don't be comfortable with me like that, especially when you're sitting in my seat and you using my thimble.
That
Yeah,
part.
don't be comfortable with me like that. We ain't
That
joking right
part.
now.
You don't know me. And I have a real problem. This is me with people being overly familiar. I what are you doing?
Yeah.
Don't do that. So I definitely felt the way, but I didn't know. Not saying that me agreeing with you makes you not feel crazy because that could be the complete opposite. Mean you are in fact nuts if we on the same page. But
hmm
I felt Jeannie being upset and for Bus to be like, no business at the table. Excuse me?
Yep.
You just blew up at these people for not being about their business, the business, our family's business, because mind you, we're 4 million in the hole.
hmm
That's all the fuck we need to be talking about. Like, yeah, we can have some laughs, but let's keep it real. I'm trying to make us some money.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. And you see the wheel spinning in Jeannie's head right there in that scene. Like she scans the room perfectly, almost like a, dare I say, a serial killer, just kind of like plotting her next move. Nah, not in real life, but a
Yeah,
business serial killer.
for
She
sure.
was going in for the throat. So as soon
As
as
she's been taught.
yes, as she's been taught, that's what she knows. So it was a little bit of extra jab. There was that innocent conversation, like, well, first of all, Dad traded them, and they needed some compensation. You could have traded anybody, I'm sure, else on that team,
Mhm.
but you wanted to make sure you stuck it to your brother because all you want to play. Y'all, what's the saying? You want to be funny? I can be hilarious.
I can be hilarious. I felt that because, but at the end of the day, business is business. And if you have been about your business, I told you not to fuck with this bitch. Number one, if you really were about
hmm
everything, then you would know it is what it is. You don't have to break up with the girl. We rich. You can fly and see her wherever the hell she went.
Why your
It's
rich ass trying to
easy.
be tied down anyway? But yo, like
Come
your pop. Why
on.
your pops out here more in these streets than you?
Well.
But you hit the nail on the head. You're absolutely right. Jeannie is not wrong. That's what makes the whole scene even crazier.
Yeah,
Like,
she's
bro,
not.
what are you doing mixing business and pleasure? Like, why are
Come
you on
on.
that? Like, that doesn't make any kind of sense.
We got to get shit done. We got to get out of the hole. That's it. And since the Lakers are out, we have to rely on these other streams of income. We have to rely on these other teams that we've gotten behind to bring us some sort of something.
Yeah,
Period.
she built just like her pops. There's a
Yeah.
There's a famous moment, if you're a Sopranos fan, that people talk about um, in season two when Tony looks at Meadow and says, "I tell people you like your mother, but you all me." And
Mhm.
that's 100%. That is his. What's the phrase? She is her father's daughter. I
Mhm.
don't know what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But they just like each other, and that's how Jeannie is with Dr. Bus. That's
For
something he would
sure.
have done.
For
Hundred
sure.
percent. 100%.
Probably did do on some other scale. Like I'm sure that that wasn't the first decision he's made like that,
What do
or
you
that
think's
wasn't
going
the
on?
last.
Nah, for sure. I know we talked about it last week a little bit, but what do you think about Dr. Bus's decision right now? How do you see this ending
With Honey,
with Honey? Yeah.
I'm hoping that the wedding we see in the preview is not he and Honey getting married. I- She seems like a nice lady. She's well adjusted. Maybe different than how she was when they were dating. She's grown, maybe no drug use, maybe no prostitution. I don't know what that was kind of alluded to.
She lived a
What
wild life.
she was
So,
living. She was living La Vida Loca. Um, I think that Bus is still reeling from the passing of his mother.
mhm.
And he is just doing shit. He's looking for stability anywhere he can find it. And I said it last week because she was that all those years ago, he's clinging to the feelings of what was versus what it is.
For
Like,
sure.
yeah, you were able to find this woman, but you don't really, really, really know her. And you can talk about how well y'all were connected, this, that, and the third. If she was into some wild shit back then, 10, 15 years ago, you still didn't know like the core of that person because anybody who does real drugs or be scamming or whatever the fuck she was doing, there is always a mask. There is always something below the surface that you just don't know, that you're not familiar with. They don't let you see that because it's not a part of the illusion, it's not a part of the image. So now she's gone to rehab, whatever she had to do to get on the straight and narrow. You've come back to her. For all we know, motherfucker, you could be a trigger for her to get back into some bullshit. So I don't really want to see it. We saw him do this grand
Mm.
gesture for her with all the flowers in the world. If there's a striptease, I need to get my purse. Like, thank you, love it. But also, it's funny what money make a bitch do. Ain't no telling. I've been living humbly for X amount of years now. And now you're gonna thrust me into having access to, she don't know it's only thousands and 4 million in debt, but to a
The
multi-million dollar
lifestyle, yeah.
lifestyle. Exactly. So again, excuse me, you're putting me back in rooms and situations that I haven't been in for a minute. So it's exciting, but also if she got any sense, she might not dive so quickly head first into the situation because you don't know what's on the other side of that door. And Bus was married to their mother. He's been womanizing and philandering and sowing his oats for 50, 11 years now. He just found you, and it's gonna be rainbows and gumdrops.
That's the most important part. That's the part
Come on.
I mainly was gonna I thought about because at some point, I think right now he believes himself and that he's committed to this thing.
I'm sure he does. Most people do. When you're
But
coming out of trauma
yeah,
and trying to deal, you really believe that you're gonna do right. You really believe that you're on a straight and narrow as well. You're focused
hmm,
ish.
yeah. I thought he believed that about himself,
Hmm.
and he needed somebody in his corner. Yeah, Frank, I know you handle the business with me. You're my associate and partner, but I need some life advice too. And when you are Dr. Bus and you are going out till 3, 4, 5 a.m., there's a moment in time where Dr. Bus he once got a call from the secretary and at 9 a.m. and told her calling me at 9 a.m. is like me calling you at 3 a.m.
Mhm.
Like you bugging. When you live that life, at some
Yeah.
point you're gonna revert back. You don't just turn off, and you have access to everything you want,
Mhm.
everything. So
Everything.
I don't see how that's gonna work out. And she's been gradually. You alluded to this earlier. She's been gradually went from why are you here? I like my life now. I don't even know that woman to don't hurt me. Like she didn't want to really fuck with him like that because she knew what that would do. So I think you have a point. This is gonna take her to a bad spot. Whenever a woman looks at you and say, "Don't hurt me,"
Come on.
that means that she knows you are very capable of hurting me and doing some fuck shit. I'm actually expecting it, but I'm trying to tell you so at least when the shit happens, I can look back at this moment. I told you not to hurt.
Anytime a woman says, "Don't hurt me," one, it's a motherfucker who's already hurt you. The again
Hmm.
is silent.
Yeah, yeah.
Two, you're about to be hurt again. And
That
you
train.
know it. And you only say it so that you can both pretend like this is something other than what it is. And that's some bullshit. Trust me, I know it like I know my name.
That train is
Please
never
don't
late.
hurt me. Shout out to
Ever,
Marseille Brochures.
ever late. So we'll see what happens with Honey and Dr. Bust's love life, but we know what's gonna happen. It's not
Mm,
really,
mm, mm.
you know, Dr. Bust out here is best friends, well, not best friends, but good friends with Hugh Hefner, man. Spend time at the Playboy Mansion on the regular. Come on now, what you
Come
think about to
on.
happen?
Come on.
But trauma, like you said, that'll do that to you. It's
It'll do
interesting to
it.
watch. Speaking
So,
of relationships,
yeah.
Magic and Cookie.
Relatable content.
Where do where do you think? Because I commend and salute Cookie for playing this game
Mhm.
and really being strong about it.
Mhm.
Um, I I don't want to use the word game as in she doesn't have every right to feel the way she feels. He just had a baby on her not too far, a year or so ago at this point. But the fact that she can still be connected to him and be the friend and keep him at bay, also, but also keep him close, it's pretty impressive. Because I don't know why she even dealing with like she doesn't like Virgil at all. She doesn't like Virgil at all. So I the restraint, the self restraint of just hopping on a plane and just going out there with Magic and just dealing with the bullshit it comes with. I salute her because a lot of people would fold, and I say people on purpose because if a woman was in the position Magic was, a lot of men would, you know what, fuck my morals. I'm still gonna go out here and try to make some shit shake and accept it for what it is.
But Magic wasn't really asking her to come. These is jail calls, okay? I'm telling you everything that you want to hear. We shooting the shit. If y'all didn't go watch that other shit, I'm telling y'all, Magic wasn't letting her ass out there. So yeah, we can sit on the phone and kiki, but which is funny because when she said it's not happening in LA before he hung up
Hmm.
on her, I was weak because nigga, no, it wasn't because he wouldn't let your ass come.
That's crazy.
So like I said,
Magic
jail
sick,
phone
man.
calls. And I appreciate, we can kiki. I'm not that far from removed from entertaining somebody just I don't want to say just because, but trying to do something different other than what's familiar than what you know. It be like that. And that nigga knows that shit too. It just is what it is. Virgil know. And in the back of Virgil's mind, he knows that Magic is still around. They may mention of, oh, are you thinking of accepting the calls? He don't know that she caking with the nigga like this every night.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He don't know that he paying that long distance phone bill every month. But it is what it is. When it's still a nigga like that, that's present, you'll never have her full attention. You'll never have her whole heart unless that nigga is completely, completely gone, unavailable, unalive, maybe behind bars, maybe. She might have still been answering them calls.
Hey,
But
listen, you hit you spitting. First of all, jail calls are wild. Like that's a fucking wild phrase, right, P. Second, you got to know what conference your ability is.
That's it.
You know what I mean? You can't have OU talent expecting to go to O State. It just don't work like that.
Come on.
You just don't work like that. You got to know. All right, this I'm more suited. This is more. I can go to O State, but I'm always. I ain't never touching that field. But I could say I had the experience. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? Or I could owe
Right.
you and ball out. Like know where you
Yeah.
stand. Virgil's,
Yeah.
bruh, you ain't O State material, my nigga, or Michigan State for this matter.
For this matter. Oh, oh, Cookie.
That's a crazy game, and to think about like we're gonna be together, and knowing in real life, 10 years later is when they actually got together. It's crazy.
It's absolutely insane.
I
And
gotta
so
watch that because I gotta see how that even happened. How do you wait 10, 11 years? How does it?
you gotta see it. You gotta watch it. I want you to watch it and call me immediately. I
Yeah,
don't even want you
I,
to text me. I want you to call me
I
immediately.
am. I have to. I have to. I have to know because now my bro, you saying that in '81, I gotta know what happened
And that's a whole decade of you still being out here doing whatever.
for sure. For sure. Lakers.
Yeah.
You see your arch rival win one,
Uh-huh.
and you got some issues going on at the top of the food chain. So I said earlier that we might owe Pat Riley an apology, and
Do
here's
we?
why. Here's why. I'm not gonna dive too much into it. We're gonna stay on the show, but in real life, there was no power struggle. This is all dramatized. Pat Riley
Okay.
was extremely loyal to the point when he got the position after everything happened, he like kind of shied away from it and told them that you call me Pat, do not call me coach because I didn't earn that title. Kind of the same deference that we saw Paul give McKinney at the beginning.
Mhm.
So yeah, I do want to point that out to him. However, I will say this: around 85, 86, Pat got comfortable being the man in charge, and that
Mhm.
started a love-hate relationship with Pat Riley. So the Pat Riley we, as I said, small apology. The Pat Riley we see today and know is 100% this guy. He just wasn't showing it at this time because this is his rookie years. But he did not do any of this stuff to Paul West said. I still want to talk about the shit, but he
But
didn't do
what did
anything to
he
that.
do though?
He was in the background this whole time. Like
Okay.
he was like there wasn't the I can't remember the assistant coach's name that he sent down to go look at Mitch Kupchak. He really was an assistant coach. He ended up being hired afterwards.
Mhm.
But there was
Tim
never
Steele.
any, yeah, there was never any kind of friction with Westhead and Riley. But I love it for the show purposes. It's like it was really magic in Westhead, which I don't know why they didn't lean into it more, but I'm sure they will in the next episode.
They've got to.
Yeah, because I was expecting certain things to happen this episode, but they didn't. They wanted to dedicate it to Larry and kind of build up to it. But next
Okay.
week's going to explode, and maybe they'll get more into the whole magic Westhead type of thing
Okay.
and what
Ooh,
happened with that.
I'm interested even more so. Okay. I hear what you're saying. I don't know if I believe it all the way. I still believe that Pat was behind the scenes pulling
I,
strings, this, that, and the
that's it.
third.
Not to cut
I
you off. That is important to say. I want to emphasize on that. It hasn't been solidified, but it's not surprising if he was. But
yeah.
by all accounts, from what people say, he was extremely loyal and didn't really have any issue with West End. Nobody could say they saw any issues or there weren't any shouting matches on the plane and all that. But
Hmm.
Pat was also, I'm not playing second fiddle to you. You know how anybody knows how it is when you have somebody, your boss, quote unquote, and you can do the job better than him. You
Yeah,
know the way you're gonna look at them. Like, bro, you light work. So I'm sure
for
Pat felt
sure.
that way to some degree.
For
But my bad.
sure.
Go ahead.
Oh no, that's just it. I believe, like you said, this dramatizations. It maybe everything didn't happen the way that we're seeing, but I fully believe that I do believe that he's crazy.
Yeah,
I do think that he was behind the scenes because of his rapport with the front office. I fully believe that they were more comfortable and preferred him to Westhead. I think that they did trust his judgment and his
100%.
mind more than Westhead. So yeah, I'ma come to you. Yeah, I'ma run and see how you feel about some shit. If I pass you in the office and I know I'm going to talk to him, I'm not gonna not tell you what I'm going to talk to this nigga about. When Bill came in and was like, when we were discussing trading Jones, he said, uh, Pat cussed me out. Basically, like, hell no, don't do that shit. Again,
Mm-hmm.
personal relationship with the players. I know these people. I know what they have going on in their lives. I know essentially what the team needs. But so no, don't do that shit. Again, Bill had this conversation. Paul was pissed. And I don't think if Bill hadn't said that Pat said not to trade Jones, I don't think Paul would have. But because
Oh yeah.
now he's in a place where I feel like I'm getting played to the left, I feel slighted in all of these ways. And so in these 3 episodes, we've seen various instances where Paul is starting to feel slighted. And in that case, Pat didn't do shit. Bill said he ran into him in the hallway and just, sort of mentioned it.
Right.
Believable? Maybe. But again, I played for the Lakers. You were in the front office when I was playing. I know y'all. Y'all know me. There is a very different relationship. And I'm not a goddamn social studies or history teacher trying to coach. I'm a player. I'm a champion on my own and as a background coach. And I really love this shit. I know this shit. Here's what I say all of that. Paul wasn't wrong for getting his man in there because I do believe, like you said, maybe it wasn't all of that, but I believe it was some things. And so I do need somebody in here that I can trust. Again, McKinney needed somebody he could trust. That's the
Mm-hmm.
sole reason Paul Westhead is in this position at all, is because McKinney, the man with the knowledge, with the skill set, with the plan, needed somebody he could trust.
Yeah. Absolutely. Shit, Riley got in that position because
Paul needed somebody
Paul
he
needed
could
somebody he could
trust.
trust.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, especially in regards to that, Pat speaks the language.
mhm,
He played in this. Not only did he play basketball professionally, he played in this uniform. He won a ring with this organization.
that part.
Of course, the player is going to trust him more. You were, um, he said it when he was leaving. After y'all got an English teacher coaching the basketball team.
Mhm.
That's just nuts. That shit is insane. But
It's nuts. Jones had a triplets and a brand new house. And I wanted to ask you, and I think about this when we think about athletes and whatnot, buying homes and property. Motherfucker, you could be traded any day.
any moment,
Do you just not buy until you know that you set in that market?
yeah, you get that. You get that contract. So a lot of professional athletes, of course, hindsight, they don't say it in the moment, but afterwards they look back and say that first contract is the one that I wish I didn't touch.
Yeah.
Like the second contract is to play money and all that extra stuff. But the
Mhm.
first one is, we'll see how long this lasts.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
is difficult to invest in stuff like that, and you can just be traded tomorrow. And when you trade it, it's you trade it. I mean, you get a phone call, they expect you on a plane that night to fly to the next city for a physical, and
Right.
you got to have somebody back at the crib to take care of all that. If you trade it in the middle of the season,
Mhm.
shit, we got a game on Thursday. It's Monday. We
Yeah.
got to get you ready to play. If you miss that one, then maybe you play for on a Saturday game, but you're still
Right.
playing for us this week. So no, you do not have time to pack up your shit and get your arrangements in order. None of that. Hopefully, you got a friend or somebody you can get a key to. Let them handle all that for you.
That reminded me of season 1 when McKinney's wife was saying, "You know what? Every time we move, I'm the one who packs the house up. I'm the
Hmm.
one who gets the kids situated and this and the third." Because to your point, they gotta go. You gotta get the
Yeah,
fuck out of here.
yeah. It's not like a 9 to 5
Ain't
where
no
all right,
relocation plan.
yeah, you get a all right, cool. You're gonna start on this day. All right, cool. I got a
Yeah.
month or whatever. No, tonight. There's a plane tonight.
Mm,
There's a who was that? Marcellus Bennett, who played in the NFL, he got a call while he was at Disneyland or Disney World with his daughter, and Belichick was telling him, "Nah, we need you on a plane tonight." He said, bro, I'm at Disney World. Like, I'm not getting on a plane to come to there." So they had to end up figuring something out. But
yeah.
that's how serious it is. I don't give a fuck where you are.
Wow.
Yeah,
Fuck
those
that,
professional sports. You see Buzz mad about that 3 million, 4 million.
bruh.
You know, That's crazy to think you go, that's got to be nuts for Bus because you think it's coming. You already counted it.
You
Like,
already
there's no
counted
way we losing in the first round. We just won a championship last year.
it.
So I'm counting this two, three, $4 million, and you don't get it. Oh, you hurt.
Sick.
I'm sorry.
And you already he already was in the hole essentially. I mean, you were a multi-millionaire again season before. This is pre-credit becoming queen, cash is king, but this is
Hmm.
before credit really being a big joker. Bruh, he spent millions of dollars to the point that he dwindled his cash flow to just a couple $1,000.
Hmm.
We refinance some shit, and then now to come back a year later and be down 4 million? Are you
Yeah.
crazy?
Shit. He can't even own the team. He had to have his wife do the paperwork because he was down bad like that.
Come
So
on.
can't take
Come
those
on.
responsibilities.
Ugh. So
I do want to go back to just the whole Westhead thing.
yeah.
Uh, and maybe, like I said, we'll start seeing it more. But Westhead was his own demise in a lot of ways.
Okay.
He did not have, and the episode. I mean, the series does a good job of showing this, um, and it's a common theme that you'll see. So once that interim tag is taken off, once you get the big job, it might be cool at first. You got to remember, 79, 80 season, Jack go down early. We balling with Westhead. It's cool.
Mhm.
Everything's straight. You using Jack's system. Now it's your thing. Now your ego comes in. Now you got to run the system. Now we
Yeah.
got to play a different way. Now we got starting to get a little bit upset because we can't play freely and we're losing.
Mhm.
It's that ego, and like I said, I know we talked about it last week, but that ego of wanting to do things a certain way, of wanting to say, "Oh, you talked to Pat about this? Well, we're doing the opposite." Like,
Mhm.
this is telling Doctor Bus the fact that you have to ask who's in charge is the problem in itself.
Was he
There
wrong?
needs to be a change of command. He wasn't wrong, not at all, not at all. But he just wasn't the guy for it, and he went about it a certain way. Fast forward some years, which we're not there yet in the show. Pat Riley does the same thing. He turns into a different person. It's something about that disease of more.
Mhm.
And that's why I said small apology once again, because Pat does have his ways, for sure. There's a love hate relationship when for a couple years it was straight love.
Okay.
So yeah, very interesting. The moose all started with that damn moose.
Mm, mm, mm.
Speaking of love hate,
Yes.
good old Irvin and good old Norm.
Let me ask you this,
Hmm.
and I guess I could have asked last week. What did Magic do to Norm?
All right, so this is more of a Norm thing than anything, right?
For sure.
If you know anything about Norm and his background, he's always just kind of been overlooked. Even in high school, there was another guy in the city that was just better. They always thought he was going to be the NBA star. So he's
Mhm.
always had that chip on his shoulder. They say little man's mentality, which is weird because he's 6'3". So I
Yeah.
wouldn't call it that.
Well,
But just kind of that scrappy guy. And he doesn't, one thing that Norm doesn't lack on is confidence and ego.
mhm.
So a lot of that has gotten him to the place where he is. But the way he's looking at it is, I was this guy that was overlooked. I was the third pick. You guys had three first round picks in 72, 73.
Mhm.
I was the third guy that you picked. You picked two other bums, and you thought those two were going to be the guy that you think I am.
Mhm.
So I came out and balled, took everything. I got a guaranteed contract.
Mhm.
So y'all really can't tell me shit. And on top of that, I busted my ass and became one of the best point guards in the NBA. Like a
Mhm.
legitimate all-star, could start on any team in this league.
Mhm.
And then y'all bring this kid in to come in and take my spot. I know we see some of them in season one when they had that one-on-one game. He's
Mhm.
telling them, like, you need to go back to college because he's trying to keep them away. It was
Yeah.
Norm just wanting that spotlight for himself. I'm in LA. And here's what you got, or another thing about Norm. Norm was magic before magic. Not personality wise. He didn't have that charisma or that electric smile.
Mhm.
But as far as I'm in a room and all heads turn on me, like, I am, for those who don't or haven't seen Norm Nixon in real life, like, Norm Nixon is like legendarily handsome,
Yeah.
like pulling all of them. Like, all right, let me
Shout
tell
out to
you a
Debbie
story.
Allen.
Let me tell you a story. Shout out to Debbie Allen, but this is before Debbie. This is
Mm,
before. Let me preface it by saying that there's a reporter, a beat reporter for the Orange County paper,
mhm.
right? He covered the Lakers. And over the years, back then, especially media, they spent real time with these guys. They traveled with them, all types of stuff. So they'd be in the airports when they were flying commercial. So he got to know Norm very well.
Mhm.
He said that to his knowledge, not to his knowledge, but in his opinion, that Norm Nixon has the best streak in sports history. And that streak was he went two straight NBA seasons. And when he was on the road, there was not one night where he didn't have the companionship of a young woman.
Bless it.
He told
Okay.
a story. He told a story about them being in Richfield, Ohio, which is between Cleveland and Akron.
Mhm.
There was a blizzard, -3 degrees. They're standing at this place called the Holodome. All this in the area is a Dairy Queen. There's nothing going on. Him and this reporter are playing ping pong, and the reporter looks over at him and says, "Well, Norm, it looks like the streak ends tonight." And Norm, without even batting an eye, just casually playing ping pong. All right, we'll see. 9 p.m. Jaguar pulls up to the hotel. Woman in a full trench coat. Like Norm was just that dude. That's the type of dude Norm was. So when you got somebody like Magic coming in and taking that
Mhm.
starlight away,
Yeah.
and before I get to this part, there was an instance his rookie year. Magic Norm was known to be, you know, 2 to 3 minutes late.
Okay.
He shows up on his time.
Mhm.
And there was a moment on the bus when everybody was ready to go to shoot around. And they had 11 of the 12 players and they was waiting on Norm. And Magic got up as a rookie and said, "Yo, let's go. Why are we always waiting on Norm? Like,
Mhm.
what's going on with him?" And when Norm got on the bus, one of the teammates said, "Yo, Norm, rookie trying to get you fired." So Norm always looked at him on some like, like, what is it with you? What are you about? I already don't like how close you are with Dr. Bus. I don't like that you're here taking my spot. I don't
Okay.
like that you're here taking not only my spot on the court, but my spot in the city. Like all
Mhm.
of it doesn't sit right with me.
Okay.
And what's the one thing outside of basketball or outside of anything surface that I had two men beefing?
Women.
It was fucking the same
Money?
women, Rachel. They were fucking the same women, like legitimately fucking the same women.
Well,
So here's the miss. So here's the mishap though, and everybody accounts to this. Everybody who played on that team will say this. It was the weirdest relationship because
mhm.
Norm and Magic were cool. The show is not. They're giving us a little bit, but they were legit cool. Coop,
Mhm.
Magic, and Norm
I said
called
that last
themselves the
week.
three. They called themselves the Three Musketeers.
Mhm.
Like when they was out, like they spent all their time together.
Mhm.
But it was just they always said Norm just always had this competitive thing with Magic. Even
Mhm.
when it came down to when he said so, it was never. And this is Coop saying this. Coop was like, it was never an argument. Like there was never no beef, but they would openly talk about it in a serious way. Like, yo, you need to stay away from Peggy, like stuff like that. They would have those moments. So everything turned into competition. So obviously, Dr. Bus talks this episode about, we read the quotes.
Mhm.
There was an article right before the playoffs when they lost to the Rockets,
Yeah.
and it was called "The Lakers' Other Guard." And it was about Norm, and they thought it was just going to be like this little write up about Norm Nixon because Norm really is. Somebody put it like this: you got this guy who is a generational talent, like a perennial all star,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden you get this guy that's going to be talked about for 1,000, 2,000 more years than you. Like you just get overshadowed, but he's so good. Like Norm was really, really good, and
Mhm.
that really pissed him off. Like anywhere else, I'm the fucking man. So there's a lot of shit going on with that.
Okay. I
I will.
get that. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say. I will say this. Let's talk about the actual scene first, and then I'll tell you some more info.
Okay. Before we do that, I was gonna say I get all of that. I think the show has sort of alluded to some of that and Norm being a man and this and the third. We saw that especially last season. And even last week I said Magic, Coop, and Norm were ace boom, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So look at me knowing.
Right.
So that makes sense. As to which I'm even more surprised, and I have in my notes, I'm just like, other than playing time, essentially, and prior to Magic getting hurt, he and Norm were still cool. So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't quite understand, other than, okay, yeah, there's some jealousy, but we had already figured out how we're going to work this out on the court. We've already figured out our system before the system was a thing, you know?
Yep.
So I just didn't understand. And to your point, of course, vagine is causing drama.
Always, always. And so I guess before we get in the scene, I guess it would make sense to talk about now because it gives you context to everything because they don't really talk about it in the show.
Mhm.
But like I said, before the playoff series, there was an he had that article and there was just some quotes that came off a certain way. Now, to Norm's defense, they did that interview a month before the playoffs, so Magic was still out. So
Mhm.
they were asking him questions about how does it feel, being the main ball handler and things, and the context of it was out of whack. But
Yeah.
it came off very bad against Magic to the point when we see the episode when they're on the plane and Norm's
Mhm.
like, "Damn, man, for real, that's how you feel." It was
Yeah.
the other way around. It was Magic looking at Norm like, "Damn." So when Dr. Buss alludes to these quotes in these newspaper articles,
Yeah.
Norm came off crazy in that moment.
Mhm.
He came off crazy. So that's why it did kind of set up the Magic be the one kind of looking at Norm like, "Yo, do we got a problem?"
Bruh. Okay. Let's get into this fucking brunch scene.
Let's get it.
I thought that this was one of Magic's daydream video montages. When they cut to the next scene, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Mm-mm.
So here is Norm again being slighted, and he thought he was about to come in and talk more shit about Magic High Key until he
Mm-hmm.
seen that motherfucker sitting there. He's thinking that he and Dr. Buss are gonna have this one-on-one. Yeah, about time me and you can get together and do something. We can
Mm-hmm.
figure it out because again, Dr. Buss called Norm into his office. We didn't talk about it when he was interviewing Westhead, Pat, uh, Jerry West. Norm came in the office too, like, what's the problem? And he said Magic then. And so
Mm-hmm.
now here we are, however many weeks, days, months, weeks later, I'm inviting you to my home, probably your first time here. It's definitely not Magic's first time because Magic is like my motherfucking son.
His favorite son. That's his favorite son.
No, that's the favorite son. Sorry, Jim and John. I'll ask later. I was gonna ask if Jim and John's is like theirs.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
Cold cuts are beneath them.
Got it, got it, got it, got it. But here we are. Here he is thinking that he's about to get some one-on-one time. Here he is thinking that he's about to now know what it feels like to be Magic Johnson
Mhm.
in the bus household, comfortable. And here is Magic walking
Chilling,
around,
big
chilling.
chilling.
This ain't his first time here. He been here. He know where everything is. He know where the dishes are. He know,
These
he
devil,
knows
hey,
what the
these
silverware is.
these deviled eggs good in the mud.
Bruh, I knew that this scene was quote unquote real. But when Bus gets to the shit, like, look, we gotta figure out what's going on. We gotta figure out the chemistry of this team. And that's y'all two leaders, point guards. You see, he had Kareem ass there.
Hmm.
Uh
Like talking to a brick wall.
and you just see the blood leave Norm's face. Like, nigga, what the fuck is going
That
on here?
it's that pride of knowing that you probably should have seen it coming, but you didn't, and now you just stuck. Like they got one up on you, and you feel a way about it.
There's no way he could have seen that coming, especially if you're telling me that this is a man of ego. He,
Yeah,
in his mind, if I'm Norm, everyone, I've already put in your head that Magic is the problem. I don't care what they say about him being your darling. I'm telling you, you seen him fuck that shot up to get us out of the playoffs in the first round when there was four motherfuckers open other than him to take that shot as we all planned and drew the play up for it to be. That was him on his own shit. There's no way he thought Magic was gonna be there so that they could clear the air. Because, motherfucker, I'm me. You just told me that this motherfucker thinks he's him and is him, essentially. So, of course, the big boss wants to come talk to me. Yeah, let's talk. Let's shoot the shit. I want to know what this shit feels like. You've never invited me over here before. He
but
ain't think Magic was gonna be there.
but I know Magic, your boy. It's like back in the day. I know this isn't a problem if you're young and you listen to this. You've never experienced this, but back in the day when there used to be a beef, One friend called the other friend, and the
It's
third friend
three-way
on
call.
three-way listening. You feel me? Like I'm sure there had to be something in him that knew Bus and Magic have a special relationship. I'm not at that level. You see how geeked he was to even be there. I know
Exactly.
Magic been over here,
Yeah,
so
but that's why he thought that it was just for him because now that Magic is still high key injured. He know that that knee ain't quite right. You got us kicked out the playoffs, being selfish with the ball. He ain't. I'm telling you, that motherfucker did not think that he was gonna be there.
that's fair. I'm willing to go with it. I
He,
just
I see what
I would
you're
have had
saying.
suspicion. I would have had some suspicion. Like, why are you all of a
No,
sudden calling me over here? Because if Magic your man, you ain't gonna let me bad talk Magic. And you know how I feel about Magic right now.
but he didn't bat. He let him
He
get his shit
here.
off in the office.
Fair.
So because you let me get my shit off, maybe now you respect me a little bit more than you did previously. Because I'll tell you what everybody else won't. I'll say what they won't say.
That's fair. That's fair.
That motherfucker thought that he was on his own. He thought that it was a one-on-one. Let me pick your brain. He might have even thought that he was gonna ask him who else needs to go or what do you think the team needs to be successful going forward. I'm
Hmm.
sure that that was his thought process. And so to see Irvin Magic Johnson standing up in that corner in the track jacket, engraved with his name, like embroidered with his name, shook and sick. That was a sick, 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 sick
That was a
feeling.
sick feeling.
So not only is essentially my nemesis, my frenemy, my rival here,
Hmm.
you gonna look me in my face and say, "What's your problem with Magic?" And because I want to stay here in LA, I can't say shit.
Hey, that nigga Norm said, hey, Norm said, why you asking me? Nobody wants
What?
to be the first one. Hey, magically just right at Norm, because that's the beauty of it too. And
Bruh.
Norm does not know this yet, but obviously we do as viewers.
Mhm.
25, 25, bruh. I'm not
Ain't
going
going
anywhere.
nowhere,
So that's what you got to explain yourself. I ain't got to explain shit. You tell me,
bruh.
because if you can't work, Magic story, right? Let me tell you what type of dude Magic is. Some years down the line, there's this guy that they bring in the training camp, right?
Mhm.
And Magic didn't have, he didn't really fuck with him and started some shit with him. They got into a fight. When Magic got up from the fight, he looked at dude and just said, bye bye. Next day, dude was cut. Magic be knowing that he got pulled. He told him bye bye before anybody at the top office even knew what happened. Like, you out of here, bruh. I'm gonna make sure of it. So that I think about that
Bruh.
story when I see that scene
Mhm.
because he knew there is nothing. I'm untouchable. Depending on how you want to play this right now is whether or not you stay in LA or you ship somewhere else. And that him at the head of the table taking a bite of that and just kind of giving him that look like, yeah, nigga, speak, say something. You know what you got to say. You
Bruh.
you owe your ego. I know you know him. You love going out. We go out every single time we can. We kick it together. You ain't about to leave LA, bro, to go to Milwaukee. You gonna go to the Pacers?
Ugh.
Miami don't exist at this time. The Heat ain't around yet.
Bruh.
Swallow that
I
pride and apologize.
I knew that that was real, but when Magic walked over and took that melon from his fork, I audibly gasped
Mm-hmm.
that it wasn't a dream sequence. This is
Mm-hmm.
real. Are you fucking kidding me? The amount of restraint Norm had to show in order to not go upside this nigga's head. Are you crazy?
Mm-hmm. That was probably
Oh
one of the
my
most difficult things that he
God.
ever had to do in his life.
This
Like
would
real
have
shit.
been when keeping it real goes wrong because there is no way. And you already a big jovial. You think everything is nigga, shit is not sweet. You think everything is a
Bro, I'm
game. You think
hot.
everything is funny.
I'm
Absolutely
hot.
not. Absolutely not. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I'm hot.
I just knew that that shit was fake. I thought it was gonna be a blur, and then they were gonna come to Norm. You okay? You good? You got something to say? But no, Magic took food off this man's fork, not even off his plate, off his
Mm-hmm.
fork.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had to mess with you a little bit, bro. We're never being cool, and now I don't know what the fuck to do because now I low key. want to unalive you.
You gotta take it. You
I
gotta take it.
could not believe that that was real, even if that's not actually what happened. That's a dramatization. I
Now,
could not believe that that was
Norm,
real,
yeah, Norm had to eat crow. No, because like I
bro.
said, Norm was the one that had to apologize. Like all of that is legit because he
Yeah,
did say some stuff. So I mean, I don't know about the melon on the fork, but just the fact that they even added it in there,
yeah.
you talk about self restraint. My goodness, that would be insane.
But he had to apologize because again, is Magic talking to the press about y'all?
Talking
All
to the press
Magic
about,
about Norm, Kareem,
oh
the
yeah,
fellas.
nah, and that's yeah, no, no, not at
This
all.
nigga's playing basketball and fucking bitches. He's not like that's all he's doing. And yet, y'all bad mouthing me to the press. That means to the people. That means to the bitches we both fucking. That means to everybody. To the coach.
Yep, makes us look weak. You
It
talking out of
makes us
house,
look crazy. Bruh.
and obviously more of that's coming. So we're gonna get the
Mhm.
announcement of Magic's deal, or it's gonna leak. You know, they really did in real life. They wanted to keep that a secret, but the league
Yeah.
office leaked it, so that's how it even became a big thing.
Why did they
So
do that?
just cause,
First, they didn't even have a 25 million. So,
I don't know why did who do what? Why did they leak the news, and why did the
yeah.
Lakers do it?
No, I understood why Bus did it,
Yeah,
but I don't understand why they leaked it, especially knowing what it was going to cost. Y'all made a big fuss over giving Coop
probably
$350,000.
probably the same reason why TMZ got the Draymond Green Jordan Poole video. Somebody just wanted to be on that, and they were upset. You got to remember too, a lot of people didn't like Jerry, but he was new money, and they didn't like the way he was coming in spending this type of money. They alluded to it with the contracts. You
Yeah.
paid 10 times what you gave him. He making 35, now he's making 350.
Hmm.
Mitch Kupchak being signed for $800,000 annually is insane. He's a backup player, and God bless Mitch Kupchak. Tar Heel, shout out to him. Ended up being the Lakers GM. You do not pay that money for him. And if you're the
Okay.
league, you looking at it, you fucking up the market.
Yeah.
So now my guy's gonna be expecting this type of money when you ain't even worth, you may be worth 120,000.
Yeah.
Like why are you paying the dude that averaged 12 points 800,000 the same amount you paying Kareem? And
That's
Kareem a six
crazy.
time and Kareem a 6 time MVP.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? So a lot of the league was salty at the Lakers and Dr. Jerry Buss. So it probably was in their favor. Like, look at this shit. Let's set it ablaze because if you find out that somebody, not Magic is Magic,
Yeah.
you can't take that away from them. But if you find out Magic signed a 25 million, 25 year, $25 million contract, and you got to play on the same team with them, there's gonna be animosity. I don't care what happens.
For sure.
Yes, you deserve that, but hell nah, you got me fucked up. And y'all try to keep it a secret. So part of that was probably somebody in the league wanted to cause some drama.
Hmm.
Wilt Chamberlain came out at the time when it happened. He said, and Wilt used to play for the Lakers. He said, I know Magic's teammates can't be happy with him. He making all that money. All of those talks were starting, and it started a real beef between
Yeah.
Magic and the Lakers. It's his
It had
teammates.
to.
So, mm-hmm.
It had to because there's no way I can know that you're making this much more money than me and we doing the same shit. There's no way that that flies. You know, what does that do
Mm-hmm.
for cohesion? What does
Yeah.
that do for team building? Fuck
Now,
that.
I now obviously it's a bad deal in the long run because by the time it kicked in, remember this is an extension.
Hmm.
So it doesn't kick in until 84. By the time the extension actually comes in, he underpaid.
Yeah,
Contracts went up.
for sure. As to which we
But
see the preview Kareem alluding to what was going to happen.
oh yeah, Kareem made, yeah, he was making more than that by the time Magic's extension even kicked in. So it didn't even work out for him. I forget the actual story about if they ripped up that contract, restarted, whatever the case was.
Got it. But I thought that that was I know it's 81 ish.
Hmm.
But I thought that that was weak too because that's still only $1 million a year.
Right.
That's not shit. If I'm already making, if Kareem was making what 850, 820, something like that, they said
Hmm.
that's only
It
somebody
really
else's
wasn't no big
salary
jump.
away. It's not a huge jump, you know.
Yeah, it's
But
bad. It's bad business.
again, we just hear 25 mil because niggas back then wasn't playing for 25 years. I mean, who besides LeBron has a 20-year career at this point?
Yeah, doesn't happen. Kareem and Brian pretty much, and
And
that's
Kareem,
it.
yeah. So
That are actually active and getting busy with it.
right.
I do just want to throw on that after they made up, Bus flew Norm and Magic out to Vegas for a weekend of women, whiskey, and all types of fun.
Lord have
So
mercy.
Norm got his time. Norm got his time to kick it with Dr. Bus.
The time that he wanted.
Yeah, no doubt.
Uh,
Is there anything else from the episode that you want to go over? I have a few random thoughts that they're not necessarily about the episode itself, but a few random thoughts that I learned, and also I want to share some Larry Bird stuff, just briefly.
okay. I'm just perusing my notes really quickly. I don't really think so.
I think we
Uh,
covered most of it.
I think we pretty much covered most of it. I didn't know that Larry Bird's father just passed away in such a manner.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that, obviously.
Hmm.
I so maybe this is what you're going to tell me. When he was in the championship, he was with Indiana State.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. He didn't even play for Indiana. He wasn't even there for a month. He bounced.
Got it. You said that like 27 days. Okay. And I
Hmm.
want to say this. This is just a general thing. In the discussion when Larry is telling his father that he dropped out of school after less than a month, I know that right now, especially like on the Bird app and social media in general, you see this whole college is overrated. College is overrated, but Larry was from the bottom,
Hmm.
and college and education really is a way to change the trajectory of your life, of your family's life. And his father saw and knew that. I believe, entrepreneurship, figure it out. It's other ways. You don't quote unquote have to go to college to be successful, to amass wealth, to, you know what I'm saying? You don't.
Hmm.
But that shit is still fucking important. I mean, we met in college.
Yeah. Straight up.
There are benefits to the structure, to the relationships, to just the collegiate experience that I think that if you can, motherfuckers need to go to
There's
school.
nothing like it. Honestly, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, man.
It is one of those. Now we look at it from an economic standpoint, and people are
Mhm.
questioning it if it's worth it financially and all that. But man, the experience, like you mentioned, I would have never met Rachel, and my goodness,
Could you imagine?
no, I don't want to. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. Like, even I don't even like playing the what if I went to this school, that school
Yeah, for
game, because
sure.
the people that I met at school just mean too much to me to even want
For
to think about
sure.
not having them in my life.
For
So it's not
sure.
even worth all that. So yeah,
Mhm.
I that's a real thing, especially when you're from. We're still from, you know, main city, USA.
For
When you're from
sure.
French Lick, Indiana, like you get one of these chances, bruh.
Right.
One of them.
And the recruiter, like Wade said it, like, you don't know too many who get a second chance because
Yeah,
you
not for
you
places
dropped
like
out and
this.
gone to be a garbage man. Two, you too talented. We don't want to see that go
Wasted
to waste.
talent.
And I hope that we get back, like, we ain't no spring chickens. It's a little soapbox moment, but I hope that we get back to being elder statesmen and women in the community and like really, and you do it because you coach and this and the third. But when you see potential in a kid, like you really gotta stay on them because it's too much other shit out here. And we don't want to see wasted potential.
That's real. That's 100% real. And kids do need that guidance. They don't
For
know
sure.
exactly what they want to do. They know a couple things, but they don't know how big the world is outside of them.
Yeah.
We
That's
thought you think you know everything because you that's all you know. And I think about the times when I was 17, 18, 19, and just it's laughable now
yeah.
at thinking about how much I thought I knew then. It's
Mhm.
incredible.
Mhm.
So a couple little random things that I want to talk about. Spencer Haywood, we talked about him last week, I think,
Mhm.
or episode one. I can't
Episode
remember
one,
what. Maybe, yeah,
definitely.
you were talking about you don't know if we're gonna get a repeat of him.
Yeah.
Did you know that he was married to Iman?
Yes. Because they
Okay,
said it in season one. I didn't know that just off general knowledge, but
yeah. So the Lakers, some of the Lakers did something really cool for him,
Mhm.
which is right after he got suspended for the finals and didn't play in that 80 championship. They only paid him 25% of his playoff share.
Mm.
Like Kareem, Magic, Coop, they you were not getting 100% of this money. And years later, they all kind of sat down and they told him like, if we gave you all that money, we thought you'd be dead. Like the way your life was going, the way you was handling it, we can't we cared about you to the point where we was like, man, we got to give him just a share of it. And he said, looking back, like that saved my life. I thought that was really dope that they were self aware enough to know this dude's gonna take this money and he gonna crash out and it's gonna be it.
Okay, I'm flabbergasted.
They said we felt you would have died if we gave it to you, and you would have lived if we didn't. So we decided not to give it to you.
But how do y'all make the determination in
I
my financial well-being? Like how I mean, I guess if Jerry Buss is your man, I guess
I
I
don't know how
guess
the
you
ins and
probably
outs
have a bit
work.
more access than you should, but that's crazy.
I don't know the ins and outs of how they actually did it or how those were dispersed because you every team gets playoff bonuses, all
Yeah,
that stuff. So a lot of it was, I guess, cash. Everything flowed in cash a lot back then. So
for
maybe they
sure,
just
for
withheld
sure.
it. I don't know. I have no idea. That is wild.
And
It's a
so did
wild
they give
story.
him the rest after the fact? Like, what did y'all do
I
with his money?
I don't know. He never said. And this is him. This is Spencer Haywood telling this story. There's another story that's even wilder than this with Spencer
Okay,
Haywood.
okay. I hope that we see. I do still hope that we see him, like
So
even
we
if it's on
know
another team.
if we see him, I hope it's for this story I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
But they're not gonna do it. So we know at the end of season one,
Mhm.
Westhead benched Haywood.
Yeah.
And Haywood was not fucking with him. There
Yeah.
was some real beef.
Yeah.
This beef was so real that Haywood had a couple of his boys back home who were involved in organized crime come out to LA and devise a plan to kill Paul Westhead.
Well, that's what we saw in season one.
Did we see that? With him
Yeah.
cutting the brake lines? Did we?
Well, they didn't do that, but we saw him in those
Oh, so what
gentlemen
he
devising the plan to
okay,
kill
but
him and the Lakers. They was gonna kill all of them niggas.
they didn't tell us how why it didn't happen though, did it? Did they?
Because in the show, he got that call as to which or Kareem went down, and so he
Okay.
stopped the plan in the show
Okay.
because
So
Kareem got hurt, and he thought that they were going to be calling him to come back to be the dominant force in Kareem's
got you.
absence.
Got you. All right.
Mhm.
I completely forgot about that part at the end of season
Yeah.
one. However, what really happened was they were gonna cut his brake lines. That was the real plan. They really
Mhm.
devised this. Haywood was on the phone with his mama one day.
Mhm.
Shout out to the mamas, man. Don't nobody know you like your mama. She could tell in his voice that something was off and he was up to some shit. She had no
Yeah.
idea about anything. There was no mention of it. But she said, if anything out of the ordinary happens, I will call the police and turn you in myself. Like, I don't know what you had planned, but I can hear it in your voice. And hearing that from his mom had him call the boys. They called it off.
Mm.
Like, that was just crazy to me because I was like, damn, your mama know you.
I must be knowing.
But yeah, mamas be knowing, man. Larry Bird.
Yeah.
I just got to give him a few minutes just because he is not just an ordinary dude. Like Larry Bird is. Um, Now with all this new talent that's come through the past decade or two,
Mhm.
he might still be in a lot of people's top five. He's definitely top 10. Just a bad dude, man, and really was like everything they're playing in the show.
Mhm.
Um, Dickhead, for lack of better terms,
Yeah.
hailed as one of the best trash talkers ever.
Okay.
Like literally every famous story of him walking into the locker room at the All Star game for the 3-point contest, asking everybody who's going to come in second. He will look at his opponents and or tell his teammates like, "Yo, keep giving me the ball. I got this dude in the torture chamber." And the
Mhm.
dude standing right next to him. He would look over at coaches and say, "I know you got somebody on that bench that can guard me because none of these dudes out here can do it." Like he was that type of dude.
Yeah.
Get in your head. Larry Bird was nice. So I got a couple Larry Bird stories that I want to share. One is going to be the left-handed game. If you're a basketball fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. 1986 Lakers, one of the best teams of all time. They had lost one game in 5 weeks. They were on a long West Coast trip, or excuse me, a long road trip. It wasn't West Coast, but a long road trip, and they hadn't lost a game at all. So Larry
Mhm.
was getting bored, trying to figure out what to do. So he told his teammates, "I'm gonna play this next game left-handed, at least for the first 3 quarters."
Mhm.
They won the game. It went to overtime. Larry hit the game tying shot to go to overtime and the game winning shot. He
Mhm.
scored 47 points, had a triple double. He played majority of the game shooting with his left hand.
Okay.
Media asked him afterwards, "Why did you shoot with most of your left hand?" He told them, "I'm saving my right hand for the Lakers," which they played the next game and beat them. Like that's the type of shit he was talking.
Okay.
He wasn't. Somebody's mentioned it as Larry doesn't talk shit. He like just tells you what's about to happen and does it
Yeah.
because most of the time that's what he did, and that's what's so fascinating about his trash talk shit. I mean, he would look at people, tell you, "I'm about to shoot it from this left corner." I think they showed this in season 1. Like,
Mhm.
"I'm about to tell you my move and exactly what's about to
Yeah.
happen," and he would do that shit to you and bust your ass.
Mhm.
Um, there was one more that I wanted to share real quick, and that was the well, actually, it was just mentioning that Magic. When we see him in episode 1, look at him and say, "Hey, this is for you. I'm gonna put on a good show for you. Just sit down and relax." That was 100% a real story. Magic had a bad hamstring, and Larry looked at him and said, "Too bad you ain't playing." Every shot he made, he looked over at Magic, just let him know, like, "I'm him."
Oh wow.
Yeah, Larry Cole, motherfucker, man. Larry Cole,
Shout
dude.
out to him. There was
Yeah, I
I
shout
can't
out.
remember what I was watching. It was something basketball Hall of Fame-ish related, and I don't even know who the player was. He was older, a
Hmm.
generation, or maybe he played in the league prior to Larry getting there, maybe with him, but he was like, "I kept hearing about this bad black dude, Larry
Yeah,
Bird
yeah.
did this and the third," and I was like,
Saw the
"This
newspaper.
nigga's
Yeah,
white."
saw the newspaper. That speaking of that, that was what I was gonna say. That's the last thing I would say about Larry.
Okay.
One of the funniest stories about him is he was playing a game and just killing this dude. He kept
Mhm.
cussing under his breath, and somebody asked him what was going on, and he said, "Man," so he told the dude on the other team, he said, "Look, man, y'all playing with me. Why y'all got this white dude guarding me? Like I'm insulted. Like y'all need a brother to get on me. Like you can't guard me with no white dude. I'm gonna drop 60 on you."
Oh, shit.
Speaking of dropping 60, he dropped 60 on the Hawks. Kevin McHale, his teammate,
Mm.
the week prior scored a franchise record 56 points, 57 points, whatever the case was. He came out of the game with 2 minutes left, and Larry Bird told him, "Bro, you need to go for 60 because that's gonna get broken." He's like, "Nah, I'm cool. Like I got everything done." The very next week, Larry Bird, which he had a famous habit of doing, he would always ask the ball boys, like, "Yo, what's the scoring record in this building? Like
Mhm.
somebody go find out what's the most points scored." And he found out what the scoring record was, and he dropped 60 that next week. After he just told McHale, "I'm gonna break your record.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
matter of fact, I'm gonna do it tonight." Like he was just a different type of dude.
Ah.
Different type of dude.
Crazy.
Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I got.
Okay.
I really wish we had 3 more episodes. Because I'm just
Yeah,
thinking about
I'm
all the
very
stuff that we can
curious.
see, and it's just upsetting.
Well, we'll see what they do with season 3 because 'cause Imma speak a 3rd season into existence.
Absolutely.
So,
Speak that. I'm gonna do it
um,
with you. Um, everybody do their part. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Watch
for
Winning Time.
sure.
Let them know it's back.
Watch Winning Time.
Too good of a
Listen to
show.
We Got Y'all.
Yeah, listen to We
And
Got
watch
Y'all.
We Got Y'all.
Yeah, man. We gonna keep giving the YouTube videos to y'all,
We
man.
gonna keep doing
It's
it. I
against
don't
our
want
will.
to, but
It's against our
that's
will.
been
We
the
don't want to.
feedback. So,
Yeah. So,
we'll
Ray
oblige.
P,
Rich,
appreciate you as always.
I love you deep.
I love you too. Everybody out there listening and watching, we love y'all. We appreciate the family that we build in.
For
Continue
sure.
to rock with us. We will be back next Tuesday for another episode of We Got Y'all discussing Winning Time. Y'all be cool. How y'all be cool?
Peace out. Bye, guys.
Peace.